The NHL Network releases yet another ranking, and this one is the top 20 wingers in the NHL right now. When this list came out, Leafs fans seemed to be not very happy with where Mitch Marner was ranked. What's up, Leafs fans, and welcome back to Leafs Digest. Yes, another NHL Network ranking comes out, and another opportunity to talk about something that could potentially be controversial. So, this video, I'm more so breaking down whether or not I think Mitch Marner is being disrespected in this list that the NHL Network released, and I'd be interested to hear your comments, so make sure to let me know in this video in the comments below. You can also make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single video that comes out here on this Leafs Digest channel. As well, when live streams start to kick back up, you're not going to want to miss out on those post-game because you're going to get instant reaction, breakdowns, phone call-ins to every single game throughout the regular season of the Toronto Maple Leafs this year, so make sure to subscribe. Let me know your thoughts below as we get through it in this video, but before we get into it any further, I want to remind people this video here is brought to you by rentals.ca. Rentals.ca is Canada's largest apartment hunting network. You can rent apartments, houses, and condos across the entire country from coast to coast. I mean, we're talking Toronto, Calgary, Montreal, Vancouver, Ottawa, Winnipeg, Halifax, just to name a few. You can find that on their website. It is clean and easy to use. I mean, I just moved into a new apartment. Rentals.ca was integral in helping us find out a starting point here to move to when I moved to the beautiful city of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. So make sure to check it out. Rentals.ca, the largest apartment hunting network in Canada. Thank you to rentals.ca for that. Let's get into it here. We'll start first and foremost with Mitch Marner being ranked the number 6 winger in the NHL by the NHL Network. We see this list here. We're talking David Pastrnak, Matthew Tkachuk, Nikita Kucherov, Mikko Rantanen, and Jason Robertson slotting in ahead of him in that order exactly. Now, my thoughts on this: whatever you think about how the first 5 are ranked, and if you think they should be shuffled around, that's up to you. But I think all 5 of these guys, I have no problem with them being ahead of Marner. Pastrnak, Tkachuk, Kucherov, Rantanen, Robertson. I don't really see how, when you take it from right now and you think about the seasons that these guys had last year, each one of those guys had better seasons than Mitch Marner did last year. Each one of those guys has been building up to that point. It wasn't a flash in the pan type of situation. These guys have been building up, and then it showed last year, and they had a better season than Mitch Marner. So going into next year, for Mitch Marner to be 6 behind each of those 5 guys, I don't really see a big problem with that. Now, where it gets interesting and where I'll start to break it down a little bit more and get a little bit more into the details of stuff is where I started to see some Leafs fans responding to stuff, and it looked like some of them were not happy with the ranking. I was scrolling through Twitter, Reddit, wherever you can find your Leafs information, and I started to see some fans popping up talking about what they thought. The first one, obviously, people feel like Mitch Marner is better than Jason Robertson. And the general sentiment appeared to be not that they think he should have been higher into the top 5 than those guys ahead of him, Rantanen, Pastrnak, Kucherov, and Tkachuk. More just that Robertson was the guy who shouldn't have been ahead. And then I was digging more specifics. Why do people think this? Because it felt like that was the majority of Leafs fans thinking on this, is that Marner should have been ahead of Robertson on this list. So why was that? Well, this was basically the ultimate reasoning that I was seeing for a lot of Leafs fans, the consensus. The Quackening replying here: in my opinion, you absolutely can. Marner is one of the best defensive wingers in the league, and you would be hard-pressed to find a top 10 list of defensive wingers that doesn't have him on it somewhere. Robertson isn't bad defensively at all, but Marner is a full tier defensively ahead of him. Marner has a higher ratio of takeaways to giveaways than Robertson, twice as many block shots, and only has 4 fewer hits than Robertson. And you know what? Fair enough. I understand the defensive argument on things, but there's a couple different pieces. And I'm not saying this to really knock on Marner. I'm not saying these things to pump up Robertson in some of the spots, but when you take into consideration the list and where things are at, you have to kind of remember some of these important details. One thing you have to remember when it comes to the Marner versus the Robertson thing, Robertson completely turned around where the Dallas Stars are at. He changed the outlook of those guys. He dragged Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin back into the fight when those both look like guys who looked like they were on the back ends of their careers and actually might have been dragging down the Dallas Stars. And Jason Robertson pops up, and all of a sudden this kid is a phenom. He's on an absolute tear. He can score goals like nobody's business. And to that note, one thing that people should remember in this, goal scoring is valued a lot more than playmaking. Whether you agree with that or not, the actual ability to put the puck in the back of the net for the most part is just valued a lot more. There's a more emphasis put on it. So the fact that Jason Robertson can score more goals than Mitch Marner can, it's going to pump him up. Now, for when it comes to the defensive side of things, yes, Mitch Marner is an incredible defensive winger. I think he's a little bit overrated in the defensive department of things. And I'm not saying, oh, he's not a good defender. He is. He's an incredible defender. But I think he gets a little bit more praise than maybe he should be in certain situations when we're talking about his defensive ability. I think that he gets his tires pumped a little bit extra because he plays on the penalty kill. And yes, that's obviously a great thing for him to do. It's really impactful for the Leafs. It helps him out a lot. But genuinely, my thought on this is Austin Matthews would be deemed the exact same defensively if they put him on the penalty kill too. And I think they won't put him on the penalty kill because they want to save and conserve his energy for when he goes out there on a 5-on-5. The other thing that this allows you to do with Matthews not playing on it and Marner playing on it, you go for 2 minutes where you're maybe having to worry and focus on being a little bit more defensive on your power play while Mitch Marner's out there because he's an offensive threat. And then while your 2 minutes is up, your best players have been on the ice for the power play. They come off the ice. Guess who comes on the ice for the Maple Leafs? Austin Matthews. I think that there's a little bit of strategy involved in this and why Matthews doesn't play the penalty kill, which kind of hinders his ability to be put into that same defensive conversation as Mitch Marner. Now, similar situations can go here for maybe like a guy like Jason Robertson, and some of the stats, I mean, they're pulling up when you're talking about ratio of takeaways to giveaways, 1.11 versus 0.94, twice as many block shots. Marner played more minutes. He just plays more because he's playing on penalty kill. So you throw that in there, he's going to be able to block more shots. He's going to get in front of some of those things. The takeaways to giveaways ratio as well, it's not like a drastic difference in that department. I just think where you kind of look at and the dominance that Jason Robertson had throughout basically the entire season last year versus where Mitch Marner was from last season and from what Jason Robertson had built to, I don't see any problem with Jason Robertson being ranked ahead of him on this list. I don't think there's any disrespect here by the NHL Network. I think Mitch Marner had a little bit of a fall off in his season, in last year. And the other thing I think when you look at Mitch Marner, and I'm saying a fall off, people are going to be like, well, he still had 99 points. Yes. But Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews and Nylander and Tavares are less so Tavares, but they're expected to continue to get better and better and better every year. Like, you don't plateau at age 24, 25. These guys are supposed to be in their primes. Look at Connor McDavid putting up as many points as he's putting up. Each season, it continues to grow and grow and grow. He's getting better and better and better, and Mitch Marner still can't crack through the 100. Matthews takes a step back last year. So you look at each of those guys, their offensive output, and you kind of sit there and say, well, did you get better from last season? Well, Jason Robertson did. He kind of elevated offensively above Marner, offensively dominant, where he could take over games maybe more so than Marner did throughout last season, put Dallas into the spot that they were. I think he kind of came out clearly as the MVP of the Dallas Stars. He fit into the Hart conversation. For Marner, yeah, great defensive season, 100%. I think maybe it's slightly overrated on the defensive side where maybe he gets a little bit more praise than he should actually be getting. So I think that this is a fair ranking. But Leafs fans, I want to know what you guys think about it. So let me know in the comments below. I want to hear, is Marner overrated in this? Underrated? Was he disrespected? Is this spot on? Is this where he fits? How would you change this list? I want to know all of that below in the comments as well. Before you leave, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications here on this Leafs Digest channel. We have a lot of things coming, including live shows once we kick back up in the regular season. As well, if you want to become a part of this community, you want to be a channel member, make sure to go and do that now. Go to the homepage, click join. Should be able to find it here on this video too. So click that join button when the regular season gets running again. We will have a fantasy pool for this upcoming season here on the Leafs Digest channel that you will want to be a part of. So Leafs fans, thank you guys so much for watching here. Make sure to like and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts below. Keep believing.